Welcome back to our channel on this beautiful Wednesday where the sun is shining, but the drama in Los Angeles is darker and messier than ever before. So let us dive right into the absolute madness that is unfolding today. You know, when you watch a car crash in slow motion and you want to look away, but you literally cannot bring yourself to blink because every single piece of flying glass is fascinating and terrifying all at once. That is exactly what we are witnessing on the Wednesday, July 8 episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge Forrester is pushing Elektra to make a decision about her entire life and her heart, while across town, John Finn Finnegan is trying his absolute best to hold his wife, Steffi, together because her world is crumbling under the weight of corporate espionage and family betrayal. It is a lot to take in. It is so much to process. And I am sitting here looking at my notes and my brain is just spinning with the implications of what this means for the Forrester legacy, because everything is tied together in this messy web of lies and fashion and diamonds. Let us talk about Elektra first, because my heart actually breaks for this young woman who is sitting in that massive Forrester Creation CEO office, swallowing the absolute toughest pill of her career. Ridge had to look her in the eye and tell her that her jewelry line is getting benched, put on a shelf to collect dust while the rest of the world moves on without her. This was supposed to be her moment to shine. Her first real outing without the shadow of Ivy Forrester looming over her shoulder, dictating every single creative move she makes. She works so hard on those pieces. She poured her soul and her trauma and her identity into the gold and the silver and the gems. Now it is just gone. Pause indefinitely because the universe decided to throw a massive Logan-shaped wrench into the works and ruin everything she built. Why is it benched, you ask? Because Hope Logan made her debut at House of Logan and it literally eclipsed everything else on the planet. I mean, think about the sheer magnitude of that runway show. 4 million people watching live. The press going wild and the buyers scrambling to get their hands on whatever Hope is selling. Forrester Creations has been completely blindsided by this move, and they have no choice but to put their own collections on hold to assess what to do next. They are bleeding momentum. They are bleeding PR, and they are terrified of looking weak in front of the global fashion community. Elektra is collateral damage in a war she did not even start. She is just a casualty of this massive fashion feud that Brooke and Katie and Ridge and Bill are waging against each other with zero regard for who gets crushed in the crossfire. Ridge is trying to be the good guy here. He really is trying his best to manage the human element of this corporate disaster. He sits Elektra down and he tells her not to take the delay personally. Do not take it personally. How on earth do you not take it personally when your literal blood, sweat, and tears are being locked in a vault because your boyfriend's family decided to launch a nuclear strike on your family's company? Ridge says it is not a reflection of her talent. It is just an acknowledgement of the massive impact that Logan has made. Words are just words, though. They do not soften the blow when you are a young designer trying to make your mark and prove you belong in this building. She feels entirely inadequate right now, and Ridge's gentle tone is probably just making her want to scream even louder. And then there is the diamond. Oh my God, the hope for the future diamond. This is the part that stings Elektra the absolute most. The Spencers have it. Bill Spencer bankrolled this whole thing, and Wyatt Spencer delivered the rock, and now the Spencers are parading this $100 million blue gem around like it is a cheap party favor. Elektra has been obsessed with that diamond for years. She has studied it and she has dreamed of designing around it and making it the centerpiece of her own legacy. To know that it is sitting in the hands of the rival fashion house, the house that just destroyed her launch, it is agonizing. It is like watching someone else wear your dream wedding dress while you are forced to stand in the corner and applaud. Which brings us to Will Spencer. Will, sweet, conflicted, loyal Will, who is currently the absolute villain in Elektra's story. Will withheld information that directly impacted her career. He knew about the Logan launch. He knew about Shauna Fulton's jewelry line being developed over there to directly compete with Elektra. He knew all of it and he kept his mouth shut because his parents told him it was just business. Just business? That is the Spencer mantra, right? When you are sharing a bed with someone and you are building a life with them and you know their career is about to be humiliated on a global stage, you say something. You have to say something. Will chose his family's company over Electra's trust, and that is a bell you cannot unring no matter how many times you apologize. That is another layer to her feeling of absolute betrayal and psychosis right now. It is not just that she lost her jewelry launch. It is that the man she loves let her walk into a buzzsaw blindfolded and did not even try to pull her back. Their romance has been a consistent source of tension at Forrester Creations from day one. Everyone warned her about getting involved with a Spencer. RJ warned her repeatedly. Ridge warned her. Even Ivy, in her own twisted, manipulative way, tried to warn her that Spencers only care about winning. Now all those warnings are ringing in her ears like a siren, and she cannot shut them out. She is freaking out. She is acting almost psychotic with rage because the cognitive dissonance of loving Will and hating what he did is literally tearing her mind apart. Ridge is watching all of this unfold and he is just exhausted by it all. He has had to weigh in on Electra's personal life way more than a CEO should ever have to deal with an employee's romantic drama. He genuinely likes Will. He thinks the kid has a good head on his shoulders and a good heart. He absolutely hates how the young Spencer's decisions have blown back on his family and created this toxic environment. The drama is too much. It is bleeding into the boardroom. It is disrupting the creative flow and making everyone miserable. Ridge needs his designers focused on fabric and metal and marketing, not screaming in the hallways about stolen diamonds and secret fashion lines and who kissed who at the beach house. Ridge has a real affinity for Electra. He looks at her and he sees the true Forrester spirit burning in her eyes. He sees the same passion for art and design that built this entire empire from the ground up decades ago. He trusted her. He trusted her with the jewelry line on her own because he believed in her vision and he wanted to see her fly. He wants her to succeed. He wants her to be the future of the company alongside RJ and Steffi and Thomas. It is the drama in her personal life that he is sick of. He cannot stand watching this brilliant young woman be reduced to a sobbing, screaming mess because a Spencer boy cannot figure out where his loyalties lie when the chips are down. Ridge does what Ridge does best in these situations. He pushes. He gives Electra an ultimatum on this Wednesday episode, and it is brutal but necessary. He basically tells her she needs to make a decision about Will. Are you in or are you out? Are you a Forrester or are you going to let this Spencer boy drag you down into the mud and ruin your potential? He is ordering her to get her head straight. Honestly, she needs to hear it from someone she respects. She needs someone to snap her out of this psychotic freak out and remind her who she is. She is a Forrester. She needs to act like one. Making that choice and cutting Will loose for good is going to leave a scar that might never fully heal, but Ridge knows it is the only way to save her career. Meanwhile, let us cross the city to the Cliff House where the ocean waves are crashing and the tension is so thick you could cut it with a pair of dressmaker's shears. John Finnegan is playing the role of the ultimate supportive husband. He is trying to support Steffi through everything going on in her life. Let me tell you, Steffi's life is a complete and utter disaster zone right now. She is holding the weight of the world on her shoulders. She is the co-CEO of a company that is currently hemorrhaging PR and facing financial ruin because of Hope Logan. Finn is just trying to be the anchor, holding her down so she does not float away into a stratosphere of pure, unadulterated rage. Steffi kept her word. She actually kept her word about Hope's line, which is rare for these families to actually stick to a promise. She told Hope that Hope for the Future would get a production window after Eric's Couture show. She laid out a timeline. She was playing by the rules and trying to be fair. How was she rewarded for her fairness? She was completely blindsided by her former rival Hope took that secret leave of absence and ran straight into the arms of Katie and Bill Spencer. Steffi is furious. She has labeled Hope a traitor, and she is not wrong in the slightest. Hope betrayed the company. She betrayed the family. She humiliated them on a live stream in front of 4 million people, and Steffi will never forgive her for that. Steffi's intuition is honestly terrifying sometimes. She knew something was off. She thought something was fishy about Hope's sudden sabbatical. She could feel it in her bones that Hope was up to something sneaky. She was right. She was 100% right. Now she gets to walk around the office saying, I told you so, but it does not even feel good because the damage is already done and the company is bleeding. The House of Logan is a massive success, and Forrester Creations is scrambling to figure out how to counterattack before they lose all their buyers. Steffi is in full war mode. She is sharpening her knives. She is ready to scorch the earth and salt the field so nothing Logan ever grows there again. Finn is just sitting there listening to all of this. He is her sounding board and her safe space. Steffi leans on him so much. She keeps him abreast of everything going on at work. Every single decision that bothers her, every single betrayal, Finn absorbs it all like a sponge. He is this calm, steady presence in the middle of her hurricane. I do not know how he does it. He has his own insane drama with Sheila demanding monitored visitation and Taylor losing her mind over the blackmail. He still makes space for Steffi's corporate woes. He rubs her shoulders. He pours her a drink. He lets her vent until she runs out of breath and collapses into his arms. It is not just work that is destroying Steffi's peace of mind. Steffi is also venting to Finn about Taylor's romance with Deacon. That is a whole other layer of stress that she should not have to deal with. Her mother is sleeping with the man who is legally married to the woman who shot them in an alleyway and left them for dead. You cannot even make this stuff up. Steffi is dealing with Hope's betrayal at the office and her mother's ethical collapse at home. She is fighting a war on two fronts. She is trying to protect the Forrester legacy from the Logans, and she is trying to protect her mother from Sheila. It is a miracle Steffi has not just walked into the ocean and refused to come back to reality. Finn knows he cannot fix the fashion house. He cannot draft a contract to get Hope back. He cannot design a new jewelry line to replace Elektra's benched collection. He can validate his wife. He can tell her she is right to be angry. He can tell her that Hope is a traitor and that Brooke is being unreasonable. Sometimes that is all you need from a partner. Just someone to look at you and say, yes, the world is crazy and you are completely justified in wanting to burn it down. Finn is giving Steffi the emotional fuel she needs to go back into that office tomorrow and fight tooth and nail for her family's company. He is giving her the strength to face Ridge and Carter and figure out a legal strategy to destroy House of Logan. The contrast between these two scenes in this episode is just brilliant writing. You have Ridge in the office acting as the patriarch, the CEO, the boss trying to wrangle his young emotional designer Elektra and force her to compartmentalize her heartbreak for the good of the company. He is demanding strength. He is demanding focus and absolute loyalty. Then you have Finn at the Cliff House acting as the sanctuary, the safe harbor where Steffi can drop the Iron Lady act and just be furious and exhausted and vulnerable. Two different types of support for two different Forrester women who are both dealing with the massive fallout of Spencer and Logan betrayals. It is a fascinating psychological study of how these characters process trauma. I cannot stop thinking about Elektra, though. What is she going to do? Ridge is pushing her to make a decision, and she is cornered. RJ is swooping in to play Superman and offer her comfort, which is so messy because he is supposed to be with Melissa Dillon, and this is just going to ruin another relationship. Will is begging for forgiveness, but he still will not admit that keeping the secret was wrong because he thinks it was just business. Elektra is trapped in this impossible web of corporate loyalty and romantic entanglement. Her jewelry is benched. Her heart is broken. Her career is stalled. She is a Forrester by blood, but right now she just looks like a scared kid who does not know who to trust in a building full of sharks. This Wednesday episode is setting the stage for the rest of July sweeps, and the stakes have never been higher. The battle lines are drawn so clearly now. It is Forrester versus Logan. It is Ridge versus Bill. It is Steffy versus Hope. Caught in the crossfire are people like Elektra and Will, who are just trying to figure out how to love each other without betraying their last names. Ridge's ultimatum to Elektra is going to force a domino effect. If she dumps Will for good, if she leans into RJ, the entire dynamic of the younger generation is going to shift, with Steffi fueled by Finn's support and her own righteous fury. The counterattack against House of Logan is going to be absolutely brutal. I cannot wait to see what happens next.